kind of in the way, but it's all right. Or do we put it up here? Too high? What's going on? Trying to get the chat to come up somewhere else. I don't think it wants to though. Does not want to. Scaring the shit out of me. What is going on? I guess it's not gonna work. What's up, Cheryl? Should get 20 to 25 or so. It's good. Nice. I'm trying to figure out not letting me look at the live properly. I'm trying to bring the live up so I can use the other camera. It does not want me to. It's crazy. I guess it won't let me until I whatever. That's stupid. I thought I was going to be able to get the chat up somewhere else easily, but the switch is still let me try one more time. How we doing? Maybe what I'll do real quick is flip the camera around. Easy enough. Here's some of my property. I'm gonna do a couple different things today. I got a few. I'm gonna try to help my wife out and get a few things done for her. This is kind of our garden area, our potting bench. Got a lot of plants. These all need to get repotted. These are all really cool plants. This is pigeon pea. They do they thrive on neglect. They actually will hedge, do a really nice hedge, and they get these beautiful orangish yellow flowers and like a like an edamame type pea, and man, they are delicious. Yeah, they're doing good. These were all propagated by our seeds, and we've sold a lot of them. We probably had, I don't even know, probably sold 50 of them this year, maybe. So, just one of the things that we grow here with the castings. These guys are all exhausted in these pots. It's time to bump them up. But you can see the castings in our soil. It's pretty cool. Pretty cool. So pigeon pea's a good one. Let me turn it around. Yeah, it sucks because if it's like that, it's always something. Trying to be more technically advanced and it just didn't want to work. It's pretty windy out. Might actually rain. Who would have figured that in Florida that we would get some rain? I'll bring you over here first and show you one of the places where I hold my castings. This is just one of the outdoor bins that I do. As you can see, I have it. Let me bring it down. You can see I keep something, this little thing right here to keep it open so it can breathe, right? And it probably needs a drink right now. But I actually keep it very, very moist. Not overly moist. Oh, there's a frog in there living. Kind of cool. We are in Florida. We got an unexpected, you know what? Oh, I don't want him to die. No, don't die. Just go back in there. He's probably living on worms and stuff. Perfect. There's still a bunch of worms in here. But I mean, this is some of the gold. It's free. Yeah, you said it was 30 something. Need to wait till March. Yeah, we can still. I'll show you some other stuff in a second that we're growing. It's like that time of year right now. But again, this is a whole thing of castings. It's beautiful, nice and rich. There's tons of worms in here, which is kind of cool too. They're finishing it up, right? I guess I could throw worms in here and just let them try to figure it out, like purposely. Those are cocoons that have hatched. And again, there's still enough organic matter. I guess that's kind of a cool way to think about it, honestly, is whatever's not being eaten, like it's better to sell vermicompost because there's still stuff left over for the microbes and stuff purposely, right? So it's a good way to be, I think. I'm not saying there isn't a place for pure castings, but yeah, this stuff is clean. And here we can store it outside. It doesn't get too cold, and it does very well. Oh, oops, the frog's trying to jump out. He doesn't want to be in there right now. But anyway, one of the places we keep our castings, I don't seal the top so it will breathe. I don't do it on purpose. It just happens. I can't guarantee that it's 100%. So it's just an easy way to give you a good reason for it to be there, you know? Cheers. So, that's another thing I wanted to show you. Some of the sweet potatoes I pulled yesterday. Beautiful sweet potatoes. I think these are, I don't know, my wife knows all the names. Jules. Part of a row that we pulled. I pulled almost a whole bucket of them. Nice. We didn't get as many. We're not going to harvest as many for ourselves, which we eat a good amount. We grew too many last year, and we decided not to sell them. And we got a beetle or a bug that ended up messing with them. It was hard, not quite frozen. Should I bring them into the house with the others? Yeah. And probably just like if it's, I don't know how many worms you have, but just consolidate them. You know, bring them in, put them into, break that bin up or sift them, 1/4-inch sift, and then put that into mix them into the other bins, or just put everything, if you have room in the other bins, and just top it off for the winter. You know, yeah, I wouldn't leave them out in the cold. It will eventually. I mean, they store worms in refrigerators, which I don't think is very nice, but it gets done. So I don't know if this is an Uncle Matt. If you're going to be selling castings, this is kind of a cool way. You double bag. These are biodegradable. They work out nice. I showed the breathable bags yesterday that I got in. So this is cool too. Just 1 second, I'll be right back. Sorry about that. All right, so just going to show you a couple things that we use. We use the cement mixing trays outside also. Checked on the worms. Yeah, I saw them. They're cool as long as you include the cost into the prices you sell. Otherwise, they will end up costing you a lot. Yeah, so I got what 30 at $8.99, I think. It's not much. Good morning, bro. How we doing? Those minuscule, like I try to drive them down. You can get it even cheaper. You can buy them in bulk for $80. Those breathable bags. And that's really the way you got to ship the worms. It's actually one of the cheapest way to ship them. Are the scratch-resistant bags. You need like a, I don't know, 10 by 14, or I think they are. Just a nice size bag to ship 1,000 worms. You guys know what that is? You guys run these? Rather enjoy them. One way that we do a lot of our starts. I gotta mess with a couple plants. I'll show you in a second. Let me show you this too. This is some of the stuff that we have started. Some orders for people. All different. This time of year is excellent for all lettuces. I mean, tomatoes are doing really well. These are all. Those are all Everglade tomatoes. I have a bunch right there that have tomatoes on them. Beautiful, very sweet, just excellent tomatoes. Here's some right here. I think I have. We're gonna be planting up 5 or 6 of them for a buddy, but they already got tomatoes on them. These guys grow kind of wild and they get weird. Like sometimes I have one behind us right now that just died back, has tons of tomatoes on it that we'll use for seeds. But yeah, this is just a nice native, I'm pretty sure, tomato to Florida, and it grows wherever you don't put it. But it's delicious. It really is. So I got a buddy of mine. He's a fellow knife maker. He's having a couple mice in my garage. Yeah, they'll probably smash on worms. You know how you fix mice problems without poisoning everything? Cats. So yeah, so this is just some of our stuff. I'm gonna show you my soil mix too. But this is like everything that's in a pot on this property right now is not only a cutting. There's the tomato right there. This thing just died back. Has beautiful tomatoes on it. They're delicious. So everything that we're growing right now is our compost, right? So we're sifting out our own compost. I have piles all over the property, and then we have to bring in perlite. So we're using perlite. Let's say we're using, I say 50, probably 40% perlite, and it's not. We don't have I don't have a whole measuring system for this. When I make it, I do it from the eye because I've done it a bunch of times, and I just. You can't really use too much perlite. If you don't use enough compost, you might run out of some nutrients, you know? And then castings is really what you can afford, right? So I think 40%, and I'll show you the container that we use to make the soil, but it really, everything that we have potted here, everything that we sold is from soil, for our soil that we made. And people they don't want to call compost soil, but it is soil. To me, I use it like soil. It works perfectly fine. I am finding that it's not ideal for every type of plant, right? There's some peat mulch right there. That's actually was given to me for free, that bag down there. And I don't even use it. We don't have a water retention issue. I mean, I guess there's some other reasons for it, but really we don't have the compost retains a lot of water. So let's see if you have any soil here. Might not. didn't make this soil, my wife did. And this is not enough. This is why. That's not even good. This here and this here are good. My wife did not mix this correctly, which is fine. We're all learning, right? There's nothing wrong with doing stuff wrong. Are you going to start selling your own soil? I'm not. I would need, for me to produce, I wouldn't sell it as, well, I guess, yeah, we do sell some of it. I bag it, so we save all the bags that we use for our feed for the birds, and I call that's a $25 bag of soil. That would be that perlite mix, our compost, and then castings in it. On a large scale, yeah, that would be awesome. If I could just have like unlimited amounts of tree companies coming in with it, that would be cool. Of wood chips, I think wood chips are one of the best ways to create soil, especially in Florida. I mean, it's just amazing what you can do with wood chips. Let me grab some perlite real quick. Definitely a pretty high cost to perlite. I mean, it's part of the game. I can't really get around it down here. If you don't deal with water issues down here, or just try to use it's either perlite or vermiculite. They're both expensive. They're both a resource that you need to bring in. This is the brand that we use, Natural Volcanic. It's organic certified. I mean, that's as good as I can get right now. I'm gonna put a bunch of this in there. So I mean, I don't know if you can see my wife's mix right now. It's actually a good thing to show you. Yeah, soil's crap. I mean, it's not crap. Like, I mix in a lot of old soil back into my mixes, and I don't have a problem with that either. I mean, I'm growing so many different types of plants right now. I don't really see any major issues. Like something like this. This is an excellent plant. This is called Chaya, right? You guys know what Chaya is? You guys grow Chaya? I do sell the soil also, I guess, love. It's being sold in my plants, right? And a lot of the plants that I'm going to show you right now, it may not look like it has a lot of perlite in there. Most of our perlite and how we've upped it drastically is a new thing for us. Trying to figure out how to grow in Florida has been, you have all the weather, beautiful weather all year round, but really there's a lot of rain issues and then pretty extreme drought for the most part. So, I mean, it goes, like, when it's dry out, I don't really mind that the perlite's there. It may not allow it to retain as much because it's not meant to. But, yeah. So, this is my wife's mix right here. Sorry. Getting all over the place. Alright. That's the mix right there. There's perlite in here. It's not even close. I mean, this is what we've been mixing, and we've talked about it a bunch of times. And it's just a cost. She paid for this bag, so I don't think that's why she's not putting more in there. But it's like there's a cost to this stuff. So I mean, you might get maybe you're gonna get plenty. This is right on top how much I'm adding. Now we're getting into like more of a zone, and this isn't even enough yet. I'll probably put another couple scoops in. Again, it's down here in Florida is different than a lot of places, I think. Very humid. A couple more scoops right in there. A pallet? A gallon. A gallon of castings? And a pallet, I'd be getting screwed. Put like 3 more scoops in maybe. I'm guessing she already added castings in there, but I'll just do it for display. Again, you can't really use too much castings. It's starting to look a lot better, I think. Again, we grew shit tons of stuff with a lot less. But we're going into winter, so we're gonna reset a bunch of stuff, so I think it helps. We do add biochar time to time, but really you want to inoculate it first. Yeah, it's $20 a gallon. So I'm going to go in here, we're going to throw, I know she's already put them in there, but I'm going to throw in another scoop or 2. Pure castings, not pure vermicompost, but very, very clean. You can see it against the 2 scoops. So I'm just spoiling them. It's a long winter down here, so. And then we'll just mix that in. My wife is going to be doing a lot of planting coming up, so maybe I figured I would help her with this, get this figured out for her. This is not, I mean, I'll fill all these bins. I'm going to have to go sift more. But we plant a lot of food for, a lot of lettuces and stuff for ourselves. Because it just grows like a weed down here. I'll show you a couple of the pots that we have going. That's it. Simple as that. I should be making it in a higher bulk. Yeah, it probably is a better place to mix it. How many of those trays do you make at a time? I mean, literally, when I make it, when I go sift and stuff in the morning, I'll do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of these bins, 7 of these. I mean, we have 10 or 12 of them. I'll fill them all up, so it's a lot. I don't normally fill them this high. I think actually what I'll do is that this has I don't know, a quarter in it to make it better or easier to mix. Like that. And we'll go like that. I mean, if you go, like, here we have, like, Fox Farm and stuff. Like, the bags of Fox Farm that I bought in the past were $30 a bag. So if I'm going to make a bag of compost, which takes time to make, this stuff is beautiful. There is still some organic matter in there, but most of it is broken down or breaking down, and I'm fine with that. That's 2 bins right there, pretty much ready. She'll mix it more as she uses it. But yeah, that's again, I don't have it. I say numbers, but really there's no set way to do this. It should be based off of like what you need, like where you're at, you know? So we do use cement mixing trays out here. That's where we do the planting from. Let's see what we got here. It's not raining very much right now, but it is raining. If you leave too much crap in here, you can run into a problem. This one is not ideal, but it will work. Alright. This is some nice ginger and turmeric that I pulled from pots that we were selling. That we're gonna let this dry out inside. It smells so good. Oh yeah. Kind of want to get it out of here and put it inside and let it start drying. But do you guys know what chaya is? There's a bunch more to harvest, but man, smell. It smells delicious. Just another thing that we produced on the property. It's a good feeling when you're pulling sweet potatoes and ginger and turmeric, a bunch of stuff that we use. It's nice to be pulling it. I mean, it makes me feel good. And maybe she was adding more at the time, which is probably a good way to do it. Maybe that's what you mean, loving to grow, is that we could just mix it in as we go. Like this doesn't have quite enough, but sometimes I think I know everything. Like I know a lot, but sometimes it's like my wife maybe has figured out that it works just fine. It's another cool plant. First off, I don't know if this will grow where you guys are at, but chaya. Chaya is a pretty cool plant, and honestly, should be getting grown by anybody in this climate. It does excellent here. I can show. Actually, one second, without making you guys sick. That right there. It's kind of what it does. Man, it's that one right there. It's that one right there. Becomes quite a large shrub. It's a spinach. It's a spinach. It's a perennial spinach. It'll make it through the winter. It's probably one of the best butterfly attractants I've seen, at least on this property. It's 7% protein. I mean, that's probably one of the biggest things about it. Probably the coolest thing. 7%, and you just pluck the leaves. Now it does have traces of cyanide in it, so they do recommend to cook it, blanch it a little bit beforehand, but it perfect for soup, stews, stuff like that, to add a good amount of, it's filled with nutrients too. Just put the soil right, we're about to get some rain. This wall backs up to my garage. Oh, gotcha. Yeah, that would be a cement mixer. Yeah, that would be cool. So you're making a lot. You might have said it before, but what kind of stuff are you growing? So yeah, that's chaya. That right there, chickens love. It's called Ciso spinach or Miami spinach down here. Those things are, well, you can see them. The ones right there, those are ones that are growing back. But the chickens pretty much ate them down to nothing. But they're very, very tolerant to that, and they grow pretty vigorously. So it is, the season's winding down a little bit for stuff like that, but they are still alive, and hopefully they'll re-leaf. Probably should have brought them in. This one does not. It will. So it's a lanai. I'm not going to do the sides for glass. Maybe I will. I'm going to do that plastic roofing that they make. It's like Cyplex or something like that for a greenhouse. And I'll pull it back so you can see it. My goal is to up to here. Like, this is my pool area. So up to here where this door is, it's a pool heater, and then it has this like this stop here, and that's like a whole like little alley. We're going to roof that off so then we can control the plants in here. So, I mean, that's a goal. Oh man, that thing broke. What the? Positive. Oh, this is cool. These are all papayas. So we're gonna have. I'm trying to put. I mean, I don't know how many are in these trays and pots, but we're gonna try to plant a lot of papayas this year. Like maybe 500 of them, and see if we can start selling papayas. I mean, they thrive on neglect down here. Radishes. We sell a lot of plugs like this, and we get $1 a piece, but it's like that's the cheapest you're gonna get as like a starter for. It's weird. We don't sell as many as I thought we were gonna sell. It's like I still. This is pretty cool too. These are loofahs. That one's pissed. There's ants all over it, but this one should suffice. Maybe I'll pop it open in a second. I'm just moving this stuff real quick because this skid's broken. That's the one downside about skids, is that they start to rot. Fiddle fig. That's not doing well. Female turkey. Yeah, I want to get it. That would be cool. If I was to buy cement a mixer, I would make an attachment for it so I can sift, compost, a bunch of different stuff. And I would do it the opposite direction. I would make it so that in the dump position, if you can, maybe it locks it, that you would load from the top somehow, like, and then run it through it so it's not filling into the drum. Just gonna pull this out of here real quick. It's broken. Fresh one in. Feeling a lot better. Indoor room. So yeah, I'm gonna get plastic roofing for that. Probably not do the sides yet, because I can. If the roof, especially if the roof goes bad, I'll definitely do the plastic instead of rescreening it. It's probably a little bit more expensive. Yeah, I think so. And at least just to lighten up the rain, Again, most of the plants that we're growing will go dormant, or just they'll deal with the cold and then come back. The the chickens right now are in my sweet potato field. They've been in there all season. Just smash. They're digging them up themselves. It's probably why I'm only gonna get a quarter of the amount. But I got to feed them all season. They're so fat and happy. It's hilarious. I mean, their coats are just beautiful. Just happy chickens that I'm looking at right now. They're all around me, just in the beds, all the way around the pool. Yeah, they will like that. I grow things from veggies, flowers, and of course cannabis. I'm looking into getting into beehives. I'm on 4 acres, and I think that would be a great addition to them. Yeah, definitely. I think bees are a great. Here it falls under the like the homestead rules or something like that. I think it's what it's called. And essentially, it's like you kind of run under the radar while doing that type of business completely legally. So I think I'm not going to do it. I just let things grow and then feed the bees. I guess they can come hang out here and then go back. Did I build the frame for the pool? Cheers. Green tea with some honey. It's my favorite. I did not build the pool frame, if that's what you're asking. You talking about like hooking one up to a cement mixer, or just the ones for the trays, like a smaller one, or are you talking about like an automated one? Because I don't have the plans, but I have two. I have plans in my head. I don't have them drawn out. Yeah, I could give you. Yeah, the small ones. Yeah, I could definitely give you the measurements. Maybe what I'll do is I can load them up onto. What's the best way to do that? I can get them to you. Quick measurements, super easy. I think I used 1x4s. You need like probably 4 foot of 1x4, right? And then you're gonna really you got if you're using the cement trays, it's just you have to use it a certain size anyway. So I'll give you my exact measurements. And then what I did was I notched it so that it would fall inside the tray a little bit, not on top, so everything stays inside. It really is a clean way to do it. And I don't know if you can tell that from the videos on how it sits in there. You just put little notches in there into the 1x4s, so it inverts it, or inserts it. Not invert. I should just make them and put them on my website. They're super easy for me to make because I have it like an automated or an air stapler, and it's just a crown staple, but it really works well. It's for building anything, for the chicken coops, for the chicken tractors, the crown staple, because the alternative is like a fence staple or a fence nail, which is like the U-shaped nails, and that is a crazy investment into one of like the DeWalt gun. Super expensive, and then you have to buy their proprietary strip of nails. Yeah, we'll get that. Honestly, the best way, and I'll remember to do it because I'm not too busy right this second. But if you just message me, there's like a little message thing on the bottom of my website in the bottom right corner. Not the contact, but the message. I might take that contact away just so people message me. Just shoot me a message through there, and I'll go down there and I'll take pictures of it and give you exact measurements. I am going to go down there in a little while, so if you're still on in a few minutes, I'll just tell you right. Yes, ma'am. What kind of setup do you run for your worms? for you helping me, Cheryl, I was already thinking about doing it. I'm just gonna send you a piece of the 1/8" screen. I'm gonna send it on my behalf. I appreciate what you did today. Me and Cheryl are part of a bunch of worm groups that we didn't even know we were the same. And she posted one of my videos, or a couple of my videos today. I asked her to because I don't know if anybody else is, just kind of helping me get my name out there. They don't want self-promoting, so I just asked her to do it, and it doesn't seem like it pissed anybody off. I've been blocked for 30 days out of those groups sometimes for trying to post my YouTube videos, and they weren't happy. Yep, definitely. I'm going to send it to you. Probably just put it in like a brown envelope, it's just going to lay flat. Nice. Do you have any other, do you get fruit flies and stuff like that? Because they say in the rules not to self-promote, and I don't know. I see why they do it sometimes, but then other times I'm just like, what bothers me is that I see other people doing it, or people putting, like, they're moderating it when it's convenient for them or when they're around, but there's like, on a lot of those chats, Cheryl, it's like a bunch of morons saying a bunch of moronic stuff, and then like I'm trying to put something out there that, yeah, it does bring you to my YouTube channel, but it's, I'm talking about real shit. I'm not like doing, like, showing nonsense. And yeah, that's what I'm saying, is people are doing it, and then it's like when it's convenient, or if they're not, maybe they're paying, I don't know, who knows, paying to play. But there's 70,000 people in some of those groups. What's the temp in Portland? Probably pretty cold, no? I think the buckets are a great way to do it, and you can actually, I think, speed the process up of producing castings with them. Be very... yeah. I love the philosophy of the scraps and stuff like that. Yeah, they'll take that, but they're gonna slow their roll at that temperature. I would bring them in ASAP, put them in your basement. Now, even if your basement, I don't know what your basement's like, but if it's a dungeon, like a lot of basements, maybe 60, 70 degrees down there, 60 degrees, maybe 50. Are you heated? Is it finished? I'd get them in the basement ASAP. It's cold, you mean? Yeah, and I'm gonna do, what I'll do, Cheryl, is I have to focus in right now and start doing specific videos that are curated, or at least my wife is gonna start helping me to do some of the filming so we can kind of show other aspects of it. I want her to, when we do some of the planting this week, I'm gonna go live with her. I don't want it, that's kind of her thing. I just wanted to show the area a little bit. I cleaned up a bunch of other stuff over here. I'm gonna take you off I'll show you a couple things. Then we'll go back down to the shop, do a little bit of worm stuff. This is a cool one too. This is whole basil. I mean, this stuff is wonderful. Absolutely. I mean, the smell of it, I don't know how to explain it. I should probably put some in my tea. There's my silly dog, just sleeping out here on a little hammock, like a ham, just catching some. Look at that smile. She wants something from me right now, but I just put a bunch of chemicals in the pool. I had a little bit of mustard algae, So I didn't clean the pool last week. So I put some chemicals in there. I always let her go swimming on Sunday, and she's pissed right now that I won't let her go in the pool. This is kind of cool. A couple house plants, but we do aloe over here. It really does a lot. We got a bunch of these last year. It's a pretty cool one. These are some of the transplants out. It's a little shady over here, but they do all right. Look at these guys. They're just ripping apart my sweet potatoes. I mean, not only do they eat all the leaves off most of them, but they probably ate 60% of them, like, since we planted them. I don't even know, early. I don't remember when we planted them, but they have been chowing on them all season. But there's still tons of them in there. And again, we might use 3 buckets of them this season to eat, and then we'll still have some left over. That's a pigeon pea. Some of its glory. Look at this hibiscus. Animals love to chill in it. But this is cranberry hibiscus. I'm not trying to talk shit, but like all my plants, most of these are first year plants. Some of them are second year, but it's like they are huge. The bananas are huge right now. They should be flowering, but they're not. I think I need to feed them. Look at all these buds on this. A lot of bugs, dude. But these are all irrigated rows. I took the irrigation out of this row. Now I'm gonna compost a lot of this stuff, but they love it in here. This was all. I had this whole area cleaned when we planted everything. Everything was irrigated. These were all peanuts all the way through all this, and this is what happens down here. If you try to do this is whole easel right here. I'm gonna get most of this up, and I'm gonna compost. I'm not pulling anymore because I want to. The wife likes pulling and doing it too, so I'm gonna leave. I have a bunch more rows to do. Yeah, it's 5 acres. Yeah, look at how vibrant that is. This is some of our greens. I was actually gonna come pluck a bunch for the worms. But these are a couple of our pots. This was a mess over here. This is all the irrigation I just pulled out of a bunch. This was all rows of skids. So I pretty much started getting all the skids up. I think I'm gonna bite the bullet and put the black cloth. Yeah, this is all irrigated right now. Nice, beautiful pots. These are all gonna get topped off again. I mean, look at this stuff. Just beautiful. Through some leaves. I'm located in Florida, right outside Sarasota. Those are all yuccas. That's one of my papaya trees. I think all the papaya trees are filled with papayas. I mean, that one right there, those are papayas hanging right there. See that right? Right? Those are all papayas. Sorry about the dirt in the fingernail. Here's some more chayas. This is all the stuff. We had this on the other side. We started moving it around. This here is a greenhouse. Oh, not a greenhouse. It's a hoop. All right. Look at all those papayas. I mean, honestly, I'm going to probably start, every time I feed them, I'm going to bring a couple of papayas down and start feeding them papayas. Yeah, it does cool down in the winter, but it's really nice. So we got a bunch of banana starts we're going to plant next year. I'm going to try to get, this is all our stuff right now. Some mulberries are going to go in the ground. I mean, they're for sale, but they go dormant. They're all cuttings. This is a nice This is called cotton candy plant. Avocado, some mangoes. This is a yucca, no, chaya. Excuse me. This is another variety of chaya. We have a couple varieties. This is a perennial spinach. Oh, really? Sorry, I'm out in the country. We don't have good service. So I'm on Wi-Fi, so I walk too far away. Hey, boy. What's crazy, I don't know if you guys have seen turkey. Like, the turkey can look like her. All of what he has going on gets put away. His whole face gets like pulled back up, and then it looks like this. What's up, turkey? She just wants a hug. Come here. Come on. You want a hug? Come here. Come get a hug. Come on. Watch, she'll give you a hug. Sorry about that. You guys hear me? Did you see that, the turkeys? Terrible service. It's crazy. Come on, Rum. I'm gonna go down in the shop. Let's take a look at these worms. I haven't shown them any attention today. But yeah, this is some of my garden area. Beautiful dog. It's a little messy out here, but this is some of our garden area too. Some of our stock, all of these, it's all the end of the season for the gingers and turmeric, so all these are going to get pulled out, harvested. There's a bunch of dragon fruit over there. No one wants them for some reason. And then these are some odds and ends that some of them might get thrown away or composted. Skids are great, but they disappear quickly. One second, I'm walking down the shop. It might lose service again. Give me 1 second. I have a really good connection down at the shop. Did some weed whacking. It doesn't look like it, but I did around the trees. I'm not gonna I'll mow this. Dropping the tripod down right now. Let me show you this one. This is a wedge in excuse me. What's happening is that I have multiple Wi-Fi setups on the property, and it's what's happening is it's reconnecting to it. I need to carry around an Elon Musk system on my back if I want to show the property. That's why I don't do that much out in those other areas, because it has to be pretty stationary. Portland, not so good side. This is a pretty cool. This is new. This is it's probably double the size. It's probably 2 bins, normal bins, and then it's probably 6 inches taller, so it's a cool bin. I'm using this for a wedge system. I'm going to show you the rest of them in a second. It's dark in this room because I think it's a better light effect right now. This is just one of my systems. So I put 10,000 worms in here. Where is the? Oh, here we go. Papaya. Let's take a look at the papaya. Oh, it's disappearing. Oh my God. It's like super. It smells awesome. It smells like a cake or a batter or something like that. Thank you, love. Yeah, the shop is. I'm blessed, man. I really I really have a good life, a good setup that allows me to do these things easily and freely. Thanks, though. Take a look at that. Look at all these worms. All my worms live in temperature control right now. Maybe not always, but they do right now. They're just everywhere. I don't even think, even if I mess with, oh man, you can just see they're just getting into the side. I mean, this one's disintegrating. Let's take a look at this one. It's just, yeah, it's just really no smell, nothing. I mean, the smell is wonderful. There is a smell to it, not to the cast or to the bedding or whatever, but so this is a wedge system essentially, not essentially. Yes, I tried to keep it somewhat organized. A farm is like I consider this a farm. It's a working farm. Um, Hopefully one day producing a lot of food and a lot of stuff for other people also. It doesn't seem like other people want to buy stuff locally as far as like food and stuff. It's just easier to go to the supermarket right now for a lot of people. I mean, I'm selling starts for $1. And yeah, I feel like most people should get their own starts, but it's like, and how are Home Depot making money off of them for $5, $6 a piece that are crap covered in poison? These are just happy, happy worms. There's 10,000 worms in here. Probably more, actually. Like they're directly underneath one, having a good time. Good old time. We're going to get measurements of the box right now, publicly. So we'll do that. Not one fruit fly in here. Yeah, some people say not to use castings for the starts. I don't. I disagree. We use a lot of castings for the starts. But yeah. Is there a fly in here? I see two flies. I saw two flies. They're not fruit flies though. They're like little gnats. I'll be growing, man. That's awesome. Let me get the lights on and I'll show you. Get you some measurements. We'll get you some measurements. How'd you find the channel, Princess? These are a bunch of papaya seeds down the seed. What I'm finding with the papayas is that you really want to let them get to really optimize the flavor. Some people are going, oh, I don't like papaya. I'm like, then I don't know what papayas you've been eating, because my papayas are absolutely delicious. So I don't know what. You just need to let them ripen properly. All right, so you got that. Put that down. Here's my 3. And this on this side. Yeah, flip this around. That's awesome. flip this around. Let's see what you're saying. It's cool. And I've been purposely trying to. Thank you for subbing. All right, so let's see what we got. All right, so we have these here. So, right, notch. Super simple. So really it's only 4 pieces put together other than the screen. And these are made to fit mine. All right, so you got a piece of paper, Princess? I'm gonna message it to you too, but I'll just message it to you. They're 2 foot long, right? They don't need to be any longer. Now, depending on how wide of a system that you're using, or based off of the screen that you can get, like the reason these worked out perfect is that it's about 11 3/4 wide, and I had to do that width because that's what like the 1/8 inch width it comes in, right? So I had to match. You need to kind of overlap the edges, right? So you need to. I'll show you. See how it kind of, you have to make it so it basically goes up to the edge, right? And that doesn't rub. This rubs, right? And it doesn't even mess it up. That's a nail for a staple coming out. Yeah, they're super easy to do. You can definitely do it. I don't know why I just threw a nail onto the ground right where I'm walking. That's stupid. So the only other thing you need to know is the screen sizes, or be able to get. This is 1/8 inch. You can order 1/8 inch off of Amazon. And then this is 1/4 inch. Same size box. 1/4 inch you can get either in like a galvanized or a stainless. If you can afford the stainless, it will probably last longer. This one's inside. It's getting a little rusty. Still fine. You get a lot of it, so I think for the cost I would just get galvanized, and then just if you have to replace it, replace it. Yeah, 1/4 inch. The other one is 1/8 inch. For the fine sift and what I consider saleable, like what you're going to sell to the customer, 1/8 inch. Or see, if you're not going to sell this stuff, then 1/4 inch is fine, right? For yourself, you're going to lose a lot of eggs, but it seems like a lot of people are picking them out by hand. So I mean, I guess it doesn't. I do a lot of things not in the fastest way, but honestly, like picking cocoons and doing stuff like that, I don't have time for that. I mean, a trommel would be awesome, but I don't need it. Yeah, have both. I think like if you're doing a soil mix, I think it's better to get it to 1/8 inch too, just finer. Because with the 1/4 inch, you can get some pretty big pieces to fall through. But like when I do a bin, I'm gonna sift a bin right now. Actually, that's one thing I definitely have to do. I'm gonna do. All right, so these bins have already been. Got to start with a watch. Okay, so this is 1/4 inch still that's drying. This is 1/8 inch sifted already. You tracking that? Yeah, you too, brother. I want to self-supporting as much. Yeah, that's good. It's a good way to think, because no one's coming to save you, regardless about like what your feelings are on the government or not. Just based off of like what happens, and like just major disasters, like you have Hawaii, stuff like that. I mean, the place burnt down, and we still, I don't think, have serviced them properly and get them back in order. We're sending money all over the world for wars, and we didn't fix Hawaii yet, right? Crazy. So no one's coming to save you. So being able to grow food, like everybody's like, oh, I need the gadgets, the solar, but no, you don't. you want the solar power, you want all these different things to make your life easy, comfort. But if anything bad happens in this world like, I don't know where you live, but like where I live, no one's coming to save you. We're out in the country. If you're not doing something, and worms, African red wigglers, will go outside in the cold and create compost from a compost and do it inside. So in good times and in bad, they're going to produce a casting for me that I think I can grow most plants with, like solely. Now, again, and if you recycle properly and do things right, the system's going to change. Like, you're not going to have fresh food for them all the time. A lot of it might be grass and leaves, but they'll live. It's not going to be as abundant as what I may have going on right now, but they're going to live. Worms were here before us, they'll be here after us. Here's some nice, this is 1/8 inch sift, beautiful stuff. Still has a bunch of cocoons, which if I sifted this again, you wouldn't believe how much stuff, cocoons it would catch. Yeah, Portland is definitely, I don't know, I try not to get too political on this. I really don't care what people's politics are. No politicians for the people right now, as far as I'm concerned. So whether you're blue or red, doesn't matter to me. You could probably tell what way I probably go, in theory, being conservative. But yeah, we saw like times in our lifetime right now that could have went even more drastic in a way that you might have had to produce your own food. You let everybody stay home and shut the world down. You need to move food around properly. You need products going to the farmers. You need things happening still, or else. Portland's a beautiful place. Like, in theory, I think there's a divide, and Portland's at the front of it, and so is Florida. Opposite spectrum, I think, but we're on the opposite side. Yeah, drugs are bad. And it's like California. It's like when you legalize bad things, you get bad stuff. Bad stuff happens. This stuff feels so amazing. Just amazing. I'm going to still send you the exact measurements. All right, so that's just this is finished pretty much. I can take this and pour it up there, but again, it's why do that if I don't need to. This here is a bin that is in production. It's probably drying up right now. So I'm going to go here with this. I'll show you how I use these. Two more bins up on this thing. All right, so I got a nice white table. We're going to put this down here. I have an equation that's been working for. Oh, this stuff's nice getting dry. I think I took a chunk or two of worms out of here yesterday. There's still a lot of worms in here. I'm going to reset these bins probably around 250, 500, probably around, oh yeah, no cockroach. I don't know if it's eating the worms or not. I've seen it a few times. So this is a done production bin. This bin's dated, this one, it's weird, 10-1. I don't know why this has so much in it. Don't know why. So I'm going to do a 1/4 inch sift on this stuff. So we're going to do a 1/4. Start getting rid of some of the big stuff out of this. Sorry about the angle. Let's see what we got here. Just getting the big stuff out. So what I found is that if you do a second 1/4 inch sift on the center bin, because there's going to be some worms that fall through on the 1/4 inch. The second will catch most all of a bunch of the ones that fell through. I don't know. Oh, I consolidated 2 bins. That's why. I'm wondering why there's so much in this bin, and because I consolidated 2. gotta be careful in this business. Like if you're more organized and you're good at labeling and stuff, the more information you put on your bins, just tracking like whatever, it just does you a service. Like when you add bins, you should have a code to put like a D or something like that because you doubled up a bin. You're wondering why you did something, which was done yesterday or the day before, but it's just like it's a bin. You think you're gonna remember it, and then it's like why your brain doesn't need to remember it. But this is getting all the big stuff out. Again, I'm gonna sift this one more time. I'm going to recycle this stuff through, all the big stuff. I think it adds to a nice bedding. And you can rip through bins right now. It's never just you, Princess. It's kind of why I do things in bulk to a certain degree, because it's like I can be prepared. I can have everything. I can have 10 generators. I can have solar, I can have every tool I need to fix everything that I do, and then the neighbor needs something. And then that neighbor tells another neighbor that Hunter has this, can you help with this? So I'm not just preparing for myself. And I think that's a part, it's like I'm preparing to help a lot of people. Like my property is going to be set up to feed a lot of people, so they're going to bring their scraps to me because we're going to turn them into gold and then feed ourselves. Tons of animals. And just having, again, not the best at any skill, but having experience, anecdotal information in a bunch of different fields. Like, people come to me to slaughter animals. Yeah, it sounds crazy, like, especially if you're a vegan or something like that, but unfortunately for us humans that eat meat to live, we need to kill animals. And I have a professional chicken plucker. I have the tools in place to be able to process large quantities. So we're going to do this one more time. So we're going to swap the center one over. I usually do it right to left. Just I'm right-handed, I can grab it. I don't have an empty. I do have this. This is going to be half the scoop into this for the next bin. So what I'm doing is that at this end bin, it's pretty much finished and ready to go back up on with the new tag. So again, we're just going to do another sift, trying to catch worms right now. And some bigger stuff. And this I'm going to mark this as 1/4-inch sift and put it back on the rack. I'm not seeing too many yet. And then if you want, you can just pull a couple out. I'm in such a surplus of worms. You're in a city? Yeah, and I'm not talking about the end of, it does end up sounding like I'm talking about the end of the world or something like that, but being in a city situation, I don't know. I would just be prepared to help feed a lot of people. I mean, I'm willing to protect myself. I live in Florida, so we're very safe around here. So I'm going to have, if anything bad happens in this world, I will have care packages to give to people, and then ask them nicely to never come back. I mean, if you don't have something to add to my picture, I'm like the worst. I'm like one of the worst guys to come try to take from. Definitely not going to play that game very well. All right, so I'm gonna start doing something new right now. I have a tag on this. Take this one off, and I'm gonna write a new tag, just saying 1/4-inch sift. So I'm gonna let this dry out a little bit more, to then do an 1/8-inch sift. It really helps when it's dry. Done. What do you do for a living, Princess? Princess. Maybe, yeah, so we'll do, okay, so now I'm going to show you how I reset a bin. Move this one over real quick. Super easy. I just have an equation that works for me. So what do we got in here? We probably have plenty of worms to do this. All right. pull this out of the way real quick. So there's definitely 500 worms in this bin right now. Some big material. It's breaking down though. It's in the process of breaking down. So I'm going to leave it. It's in the system. It's a very good inoculant. Good. The Great Reset, right? Our lords decided to see, I don't know. Fortunately, it didn't work very well. Now we're stronger and smarter. I'm really, I try not to sound like anti-government, but I'm so sick of both sides and how they run our country right now. It's so annoying. It really, it's aggravating to think that we have all of this stuff, and then we're funding a war in Ukraine, and we're doing all these crazy things that like literally are just killing and hurting people. And I'm not saying that Ukraine shouldn't have help, but it's like, look at our country's not fixed yet. You can't take all this money out of our country and send it somewhere else and not fix the problems here. There's people starving and dying here. There's a war in this country. Like, how many people die a year from drug overdoses and stuff? The cartel. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly it. All right, so we're here. Let me see if I have another bin. Yeah, this one here. I know, I'm setting it. So I'm gonna go in my bulk bin, which I'll bring over. Let me put this here for a second. This is a bulk bin that you might like to see too, that I'm gonna pull some extra worms from for this bin. Before I do that though, I use finished compost for my my bedding, right? So this is just some that I have brought in. A bunch more buckets out there. Just a bucket. I have just an equation that works for me. Right now I'm doing 2.5 to 3 scoops, up to about a couple thousand worms in these bins. So one, might be the rest of this bucket. Two. I'm gonna put that because I'm gonna put some extra worms in this bin. Yeah, I use finished compost for bedding. I don't buy bedding. That's cool too. I'll show you that in a minute. So I'm gonna mix this up right here. Wet this. I'm gonna put a few worms in here. So we got this here. Yeah, I think the compost and the chow that I use is what really drives these things to go crazy. Cans, we get rats, and I just started gathering all the bees and bags. Nice. Yeah, I don't. It doesn't matter where you're doing it, as long as we're doing it right. Look at that. Just a little stash spot. You Portlanders got the weed stash. I got the worm stash right now. Put a couple in here. Set a new bin. Just a couple few. Let me water this. Oh! How did that happen? Oh God, that's so annoying. I don't even know how that happened. Like a ghost. I just used it yesterday. I haven't changed that. I haven't used that for pressure at all. I don't know. A ghost came. So I didn't do this the other day. I'm gonna show you this bin in a second. Let me just get this one set back on the rack. I didn't mix this the last time, and it dried out too fast. So I'm just gonna mix it in place and then re-soak it. Prefer worms over what? Over people? Definitely. It's like people, well, I gotta watch sometimes what I say because you might be one of the. Yeah, exactly. I think weed has its place. I think it's very medicinal. The fact that we've outlawed it and treated it the way we have, we've set ourselves back so far. Imagine that if we had went hemp based for most of our products, how much farther we'd be as a civilization. I truly believe that. Basic research, child type of research. Yet the cotton field owners, the slave owners, they didn't want to deal with it, I guess, right? Isn't that what happened? Just a little. That's just chicken feed. It's not my chow. Yeah, it does. There's all different varieties. I wouldn't leave it at that. I don't know what you do or how you do it, but there are some that will make you more paranoid, and then some that make you a lot less paranoid. So if it was like if the one time you smoked it as a kid, you had a bad experience. Nowadays, you can literally go in there, and these bud tenders can like diagnose you and tell you which bud will help what. So I mean, there is a level to it. If you're smoking some swag, yeah, I'd be paranoid too because you don't know what was done to it. I'm trying to find a rag to dry my hands. Trying to not drink that much soda, but I do drink soda sometimes. That's good. Yeah. Yeah. I guess I can't tell if I do partake. I can't tell because I'm already paranoid anyway. It's not paranoia anymore. It's not conspiracy anymore. It's reality as far as I'm concerned. If you're like, oh, that's a conspiracy, I'm like, where the fuck are you? Where have you been? What rock have you been hanging out underneath? What's the date today? November 26th. BB, and then I mark and label all of my bins. BB 1126. And we're going water/feed. And again, you could put way more details on this. I haven't yet evolved it in my head. I know. I mean, I could just start scribbling a bunch of stuff on it. But so that one's done, set up, and back on the rack. Right? And that's kind of like when I'm going through these, I'm cycling and doing another one. All right. So this is that bunch that I'll show you real quick with a huge papaya in it. Appreciate you staying and watching, talking. Doesn't seem like the algorithm likes me today at all. Glad that you found me though. Here's a question. So I have a papaya in here. Oh man, this thing's starting to break down like crazy. What is going on here? Look at these worms. Got going on underneath this. Oh man, it just smells wonderful. Yeah, I try to keep it very methodical. I do put fruit. I haven't done much, but I've been talked into doing it, or I've seen, not really talked into it, but seeing a lot of people doing it, and it's like the worms like it. They like certain things. No, I'm really, I'm locked in on this right now, Princess. I have a very good method. It's my method. It's not somebody else's method. I do take advice from other people. Like I think Captain Matt is a good person to look at also. But it's like there's a right way to do it and a wrong way for the most part. I'm not even gonna feed them anymore. They got plenty to chew on. All right, so that's just a bulk bin. This is that 1/4 inch size, so we're gonna do more than that. Up here. The problem is I have 2 bins up there that are just. This is one. Just come up here. And this bin here needs to get sifted. This almost dry enough to. Yeah, I pulled a bunch of worms out of here yesterday too. Cleanliness is godliness, right? I like methods, but I'm very quick to switch things. Sometimes it's not even intentional. I just do things a different way. There's a lot of ways to skin this cat. So get caught in with like, oh, this is the only way I do it. It's like, try something else and see if it works also. This stuff is sifted easy. It's done just like that. I don't know what those big sifters and trommels are going for right now, but I would never right now buy one of those. Just filled with eggs. Just beautiful. Now this again is not enough worms. That one for a second. Come over here. Another bucket of compost. Set up a couple more bins. 1, 2, and a half. 2.5. I'm not putting 2,000 worms in there right now. And then I'm going to go back to my big breeder bin, or my bulk bin. Just take a handful, maybe 2. Bump it back up. This bin I already taken all the worms out for the most part. I'm putting the bunch back in. Sometimes what I do is I'll take a, sorry, you can't even see me right now. I'll take a handful of castings, again, finished ones, and put them back on to even inoculate it even more. All right, and then we mix it all back up. Yeah, I agree. The Africans, they want a pretty specific set, but I mean their range is pretty wide. I mean, they'll be in the shade if it's really hot out, so they'll survive. And then when it's really cold, they go down to 35. Some people are saying that's cold. I'll let this bin get established before I was to put some bigger stuff in here. My screen up top on one of my compost piles has a big hole in it. So I'm going to soak this one down and mix it up again. A couple different age ranges in here. Are these the same as what people call African nightcrawler? They are not the same. These are African red wigglers. They're definitely different though, completely different in a bunch of different ways. How you doing today, Ziggy? It's really nice, rich before it starts. Right, so Princess, I sell vermicompost. I don't sell pure castings. Pure castings could take up to a year to produce and really clean out and clear out the bin properly. So I sell vermicompost along with, it's how most people should be listing it, because there's a, thank you. I'll show you. So I'll tell you the difference right now if you want to know, at least my take on it. What was I saying? I lost my train of thought, Princess. Sorry. So a couple differences between the African night crawlers um, and the African red wigglers. One thing is the night crawlers won't go as cold. They're a lot more temperamental. Um, I forgot what I was talking about, Princess. If you could just tell me what I was talking about, I'd like to finish that. So the night crawlers, big difference from the red wigglers is temperature and then depth of living. So African red wigglers like to live in the top 3 inches of something, and the night crawlers like to be down deeper. They're not as prolific breeders. They're a lot more temperamental. Their castings are a lot bigger. They have other usages like fishing and stuff, so that's a really good benefit. Is that you can there's a lot of businesses that you can do with them if you get them going. But it's not like if you have enough experience, you could probably figure it out pretty quickly. But if you do African red wigglers, it's not going to just be a walk in the park to get night crawlers going. Their conditions need to be a little bit different for the most part, and they're not as wide of a range. Oh, so yeah, the big difference there is percentage of castings. So I call mine vermicompost. Yeah, they're very temperamental. From what I hear, I don't have any. I'll probably bring them in, but I kind of like my pure red wigglers. Like, there's benefits to both, but these guys are pretty cool. I'm pretty. I don't really need to do the fishing aspect, but that would be the reason why I do them. It wouldn't be for their casting as much. It would be to try to get into that business. So the castings and the vermicompost has castings in it, but it's the leftover from whatever they're not eating. With mine, it's compost. So really, you're getting very, very high-end compost because the process I use to make my compost is pretty cool. It's different. I'm not just doing a hot compost pile and then sifting it, although I do use that sometimes. My main source, I use quail. So if you look back in my videos, you'll see that the quail are for making a compost pile in that area. But really, your vermicompost castings is a percentage difference. Like castings would be like 100% if you're selling castings, unless you're going to label them at whatever. Like if you could figure out the way, maybe there's a way to be like, oh, this is 70% castings and then 30% organic matter, right? So it's just like if the customer doesn't know, it doesn't hurt them. But honestly, I think like it's like fine wine. I say it's like if you have year-old castings, they're going to be more expensive. They took more time, more care, and now it's a different product. If you have an aged wine, it's more expensive, right? Like it's the good shit. Kept African night crawlers in large. Yeah, so basically what I do is I raise birds. I just brought them outside. Now they're now in my aviary, and really they live on a compost pile. So I transformed a trampoline into a aviary, and now I have an aviary that's beautiful size that I have I think 90 quail in right now, and they live. All I do is bring fresh wood chips in, which I have 50 piles of wood chips from tree companies. And then I'll bring in a couple wheelbarrows a week, and they just break it down. And then I can keep just cycling it. So it used to be my quail were for just eggs and meat, and now really they're just my friends that poop. So they really produce a high quality compost. It's beautiful. It's so filled with nitrogen and just nutrients. The worms go crazy over it because like worms love cow poop and stuff like that, but like you can run them just with that kind of stuff as their main, but when I started doing the quail poop and stuff like that, it took off, and I could control it. So that's one of the big reasons why I don't like cow and horse manure, is because you don't know, like horse manure. Everybody's like, oh, horse manure, but people aren't eating horses, So they're deworming and they're doing whatever they can to keep those hundreds of thousands of dollars, in some cases, animals alive. They're not thinking about you and your worms, and if the dewormer is going to destroy your population. So, and it's happened. I've sent worms to people multiple times, free of charge, to help them. because they've put something in their bin from externally and it's killed all their worms. It happens. It happens too often. I mean, even with products that you'd be using for other animals and you'd be interacting with. I know somebody that a buddy of mine on YouTube, his veggies in the front yard. He put a alfalfa, what was it, a alfalfa straw or something in there, grass, and it killed all his worms. You know, so it can happen. So bringing that external stuff, and so I'm just trying to figure out way, just like what you're saying earlier, like the sustainable way, and to be able to keep track of the stuff. I do bring in feed for the birds, but they process it, and if they died, then maybe I would. If they all died, I would be like, okay, that's not good to feed the birds anymore. But I just try to control. I honestly think that I could stop giving them chow, and as long as I kept their water, I think they would live just in the compost. So let me just label this, and this will go back on the wall. A lot of my stuff is experimental to a certain degree. I'm so willing to change, like for the good, that it can change on the fly. Like I could wake up in the morning doing it one way, and then come out and do it a completely different way because I evolve. I'm still evolving. I'm not some old dog that doesn't want to learn anything new. It's fine on the leaves, so I think they. Yeah, honestly, there's a level to like production that if you do give them these other things, that you will have a higher quality product. But again, in a situation where you're trying to make things work, what do we got here? So I'm gonna keep that one. So let's grab another earlier one. The sift. Those are eggs, babies, 10-2. This one out right here. There's another nice bin. Look at that bin right there. I've fed most of these guys and they're watered. I'm not even going to sift these ones. These guys, I put pieces of pumpkin in there. I'm pretty sure they ate the whole thing. This stuff is ready to go. I'm going to pull it. Maybe I will. 1/4 inch sift them. So like, it really doesn't matter if they're wet when you 1/4 inch sift them. This stuff is beautiful. Perfect moisture content for them to hang out in. I try to save them, but I got so many. There's always 15 to 20, 30 of them on my ground dead when I come out. They move around. They migrate, for sure. I think they go bin to bin, honestly. I'm pretty sure there was pumpkin in this bin yesterday. Pretty sure. Let's see what we can do here and see if it will sift at all. Fine stuff sifted right out. Again, I don't really care if. Actually, I could probably just do it that way and set these bins like that. See, I don't have any more room to do bins. I gotta figure out how to expand more. I was gonna do different bags and stuff to hold worms in, but I don't want to do that anymore. Again, I changed my mind. Live because I can interact with people, but also I was going to be doing this something in the worm area today anyway, so it's like I can just kind of bullshit with people and do what I was going to do anyway. consolidate this bin. Yeah, I do. Not very often, but I do. Like I just fed them a bunch of pumpkin. I'm gonna start doing it more often, for sure. I think it adds a lot of nice nutrients to the bin. For the video, it adds a really nice color when you're adding it to the bins. So I'm gonna start. I'm gonna harvest a bunch of lettuce. That's getting a little. That's ready to go. That we're gonna need to do something with. We haven't been eating it as much as we should be. Other than a little bit of water, it doesn't really take much to grow a bunch of food for us. So if it ends up going to something like this, I don't mind at all. What? I'm just going to flip this bin. I can turn this into 2 bins right now, or 3 bins. There's a lot of worms in here. I'm just going to set it up like this. Be a faster bin. And I'm all over the place. Sometimes I do this, sometimes I do that. What I am pretty consistent with is the amount I'm putting in here. Whether it takes a little longer to get through it, or you put some more worms in there to get through it faster, 2.5 to 3 really works pretty well. Put it all in there mixed up. Dries the worms out a little bit for a second, but it's fine. Wet them down really good right now anyway, so. My wife works on the weekends, so I refuse to not work on the weekends. I hate to go, but I have to ready for new space in the garden in spring. Thanks for the advance for sending the sticker plans. Yep, I'll send them as soon as I get off. I'll be getting off in a few minutes. Thank you for the conversation, honestly. If you need anything else, you just let me know. Yeah, it's earlier where you're at. It's 3 hours earlier. You were blessed there, all right? Stay safe. Pre-wet this like this. See, the problem is I can just talk to myself. So even if there's no one in here talking, I mean, the only time I turn off is when I turn off. Till that, I'm going. Your other live where you discuss the potworms and maybe getting the population boost from higher protein feed versus. No, I 100% agree with that observation. Especially this, I'm using organic feed. Like everything, all the birds get fed organically with feed. When I use feed for the chow is with organic feed, but there is definitely something to that. But really what I found was the acidity is really a big problem. So what I was doing simultaneously was I wasn't putting eggshells or calcium in there to draw down the acidity, right? Because it's an easy way. It already needs to go in the bin. So essentially what I was doing was yeah, you're right. It's high protein, and that's another cause. Too wet of a situation. and also the pH level. The acidity is off. Wait. What? You can sell potworms? Oh yeah, I can't wait to read it. That's interesting. Very, very interesting. Yeah. Now you're going to start growing potworms. Yeah, you're right. I'm not seeing. Oops, 1 second. I got auto lights that turn on and off. Where are you from, Ziggy? What's your dealio? Sounds like you're very intelligent. Or you're doing something right. I do like that info. They're nice. Nice. Nothing wrong with being a nerd. You run worms, right? Water and feed. I just mark all the bins. Breeder bin, BB, the date, and then water and feed. I just use tick marks. Fears, but just a couple totes. That's all you need. I mean, if you're just keeping them around for yourself or for fishing, even if you're going to sell them for fishing, you probably produce a pretty good amount if you keep the conditions right on those night crawlers. Really labeling these bins when you have. I'll show you how many bins I have. How old are you, if you don't mind me asking? What am I doing here? Why do I not have an empty place? Roger that. So you've been around the block a few times. You know exactly what we're talking about. Potworms. And what, fishing, animal, or what, pet stores want them? Yeah, I've been doing it for about 2 years now. I was gardening. I was very sick. Stomach issues. Started cutting everything out, and then started growing our own food. COVID hit, whatever. We bought this property, and I really just laid in to try to figure out sustainable ways to do things. And the worms are as sustainable it gets to be able to condition the soil properly. You can create a little culture of them in a container and sell them to people. What eats them? Do you know, like, do you have any more info on that? Super, I'm very interested. Do you think that the thing with the food scraps is that I don't. This is a machine shop too, Ziggy, right? Like it's a whole shop of a bunch of different stuff going on in here, right? So that's a whole grinding room back there, mill. I have a lathe there. So I'm not. There's like an in between for me, honestly, with like how far I'll take. Like Uncle or Captain Matt, he's got flies everywhere in there. Probably smells to a certain degree too because of how much rotten food he's running and stuff like that. So I'm not into that aspect. I'd rather have potworms than a bunch of flies around and it smelling like crap. Nice, yeah, do that. I'm glad to see all of these people getting in the lines and create a little culture of them. That's cool. So you feed fish with them, like baby fish, maybe. I did get somebody that was looking to maybe buy worms for his fishing operation, which I thought was interesting. What do we got here? I got time for one more bin. What do we got here? I got a 920. Now I'm gonna keep that one. 929, 929. I got a 10.6. I want to keep a couple 10.2s. Again, my fine wine collection. I got a 10.2 there, so let's jump to a 10.6. Ah, there's another bin right there. Pot worms are not bad right now. There are some though. Let's see what we got. This is just too wet. Oh man, it's beautiful stuff. It's not too wet. It's too wet to sift. What mesh do you use to separate? I always worry about harming the worms. Don't worry about harming them. They like it. It's like going on a roller. It's like going on one of those fast roller coasters for us. I feel like it's just like, yeah, if you keep doing it over and over and over and over and over again, yeah, you're gonna get weird. But these guys, they want the new bedding and they want to just kind of meet new chicks and dudes and whatever they do. And honestly, I think they don't like it. Oh, yeah, just hardware cloth. So I'm using an 1/8 inch. Like anything I sell is 1/8 inch sift, which catches most of the cocoons, which is another reason why you do it. And then I have a 1/4 inch sift is what I've been using here to just do that catches most of the worms. Get the next bin set, but then kind of there's a lot of bigger organic matter that I want to get out before I sell it to the customer. I got a nice customer, I think, or he's coming on either Monday or Tuesday to get worms, castings. What I really like to do is like, I don't want to sell anybody any more than they need. So if you come here, you're like, oh, I want 10 5-gallon buckets of castings. Like, what are you going to do with it? And they'll be like, I just want to have it, so I have it. I'm like, well, you know how to take care of it? Like, taking care of castings could be probably more difficult than taking care of worms because there's a moisture content. You need to feed the microbes. So I talk people out of buying more stuff than I sell because if you buy a bunch of my castings and then let it sit for a year and don't tend to it, it's just going to degrade and it's not going to do. I'd rather you do a monthly buy. We figure out a way to make that work, or every quarter, and then you're doing a feed. I think you should be feeding more often than that with this. I feed almost weekly with tea. Yeah, it's like kind of like a wedge system. Yeah, that just takes too much time. Like in the system on the ground that I showed at first, I'm going to go from side to side and then I'll pull some out, but I'm still going to sift it. It doesn't hurt them. It really doesn't. Exactly. So what I do is I try to get them, like I'm like, okay, well, why don't you buy, like they want worms, so it's $60 a pound. And then I'm like, okay, why don't you get a gallon of castings, which I sell for $20 a gallon, and then inoculate really well, because that's what you're really trying to do to get this stuff working and pumping and beneficial to your garden. So essentially, to get them set up, is they'll have enough to inoculate the bin very, very well, which I send stuff in with the worms too. But really, I want them to inoculate as heavy as possible. I'm not doing anything to this one. I'm going to let this one dry, I think. The potworm population has disappeared big time. That other day, just putting eggshell. I hadn't been putting eggshells. I had never had potworms, but I wasn't putting eggshells in these last couple times, and that's what I think happened. Is that the acidity just got out of whack, and that really, I think, the protein keeps them, but the acidity really like attracts it, I think. All right, so that's that. Let me find a bin that is ready. I guess I don't really need to. They must have eaten all this pumpkin. This is 11/23, so this is a newer bin. Damping off. What is damping off? Never heard that term. This has some potworms. Look at that. There they are, right there. This has pumpkin still. This is a newer bin with pumpkin in it. They are just chowing. Nice big old worm right there. Happy worms. perfect moisture content. My fish are drooling. That's that. They're not getting the pumpkin as fast as I thought they were going to. This is another 10-2, 10-14. That's a 10-4. Let's see what this one is. Look at that. Some mite eggs. This has a pretty good amount of, they're getting crazy over top of this. My tiny seedling just falls over and dies through this. Yeah, we don't have that issue with ours. You came in, if you rewatch, I'll make this public. If you watch the beginning of it, I was actually in my one of my planting areas. And look at that. It's very dense. There's this is papaya from the other day. It's already gone basically. This bin, there's a lot of worms in the center. A lot of cocoons. As soon as I start putting it seems like when I feed them into the center, I don't have consistent worms around the edges also. Like when I do the powder over the top, they kind of come up, grab some, go back down, and are in their own area. This brings it in for more of a breeding setup, which is good. But they got plenty in here. I'll show you something else that I make. 1 second. Yeah, our seed, we get such a good germination right now. When you see the beginning video, or if you watch the back on the beginning, our germination rate is like pretty reckless. I mean, we're trying to supply for everyone around us. This is my little work area. I do a couple different trades. This here. Let me grab. It's a little messy right now. I've got so many different things going on. I'm always letting people borrow tools, working on something, so it gets a little crazy. Let me get one of my knives. So I make custom knives. Me and a buddy. I'm at my house, but me and a buddy share this shop. Where are those knives at? Here's an example of one of my. I'll just show you the one of my pocket. This is another example, but I'll show you one of my pocket. I'm in Florida. This is one of my knives. Little mini hunter. This one's used heavily every single day. I was just cutting metal with it earlier. This is one that's getting ready for a show eventually. It's like this finish I'm not leaving. I've since fixed the finish. This is just it's still early. It's not sharpened yet. But yeah, this is just a very small knife. My hands aren't that big, but here's a ruler. It's for around the property, and I'll show you what's really cool about these knives that is proprietary to me right now until somebody else steals it. So we're looking at about 6.5 inch knife. So it's a small knife. The cool thing is this. I came up with the sheath. It's magnetic. This is prototype. This is actually the second one that I've ever made. I've made a few others for people. Mostly I've given away as gifts. For some reason, people haven't caught on to it yet. So what this excels in, 1 second, let me flip the camera around. right? Knife goes in. Normally on a leather sheath that goes onto your belt, this is on the other side, the strap. What I did was I took it from this side, flipped it to this side, and put magnets, right? And then what this is meant for is so that you don't have to have it on your belt or anything. I made it so that it goes in the pocket, right? And then you're able to draw like a folding knife. So the same way you grab a folding knife with these two fingers, you just pull this knife out, and it comes right out. And it's a front pocket carry utility knife that is not going to fail on you because of mechanics and stuff like that. Like with a folding knife, you can get lint in there or a coin stuck and it won't pull. So this really allows you to draw the knife and use it very easily. This is dirty. It's disgusting. I could sharpen this right now, actually. But yeah, that's my take on a nice little utility knife. Pretty happy with it. One thing that I don't do well with, and I'm doing better now doing YouTube and stuff, is kind of promoting myself. Yeah, I use it all. I mean, I just did a whole property clear for somebody. A neighbor of mine needed help, or he didn't really need my help, but he ended up asking for my help. And I use this thing for so many different reasons. I mean, if you're not using a knife, then I don't know what, like, I don't know what else. Like, what are you doing? So now it does exist as a pocket clip, right? So there is a bunch of knives that still do it this way, but have a clip here. And I make custom clips too. Like I make knives, and then I work for a few companies, and I make a couple different types of clips, like for other people's knives. Like that one, it's not. This is a special material. That's marker I drew on it, trying to figure out a better design. But this is called Timascus. A couple different versions, different anodizing on it. But this is for a specific knife for an Emerson. I don't know if you carry Emerson or a couple different. It works for a couple different knives. But I tried to figure out a way to make it custom for my clip, and I couldn't figure out how to make it connect with like a 3D milled clip like this. Wouldn't have the magnet here, but yeah. I'm really happy with this knife. It's disgusting. I don't know what. Oh, there's pumpkin on it. What do you do, or what did you do? Yeah, the magnets are definitely underutilized on this planet. This is just one of the ones. I got a couple other. This is actually the first. This one's sharp. This one's like the first hand ground knife that I did. Nice, even. Very particular about my bevels. They have to match perfectly. So like that swoop there. Very similar. Trying to keep it exactly the same. This is a little bit thicker knife, bigger knife. More of a belt knife. But this is sharp right now. Oh yeah. And it's thicker. It has a nice tip to it. That's one. This is a cool one too. Video production. Also, I wouldn't know it from what. I need a video guy. I need a dude that I can send just tons of stuff to then turn into a movie weekly. But that's cool. It's got copper pins going through it. Spalted maple. It has a little oil on it. That's why you see the stain on it. Again, just a nice small knife. That's pretty cool. This is another one, a little bit bigger one, thicker. Brass pins, yellow and black. They're just nice. This one's not sharp either yet. Nice stone wash finish. Actually, no, this is a blasted, and then you, or an acid dipped, and then you do a couple pulls. I have bevel on one side. Yeah, so I do, I don't know where it went. Why can't I find that right now? Oh yeah, it's right here. So like this is one of the folders that I make. This is called the Corva. And this I kind of figured, it's kind of based off an electrician's knife. This is a stainless Damascus. This is one of my personal knives that I made for myself. I've been doing a lot of testing on it. I just changed the screws out. I got to shorten these screws the other day. I think this would be a good grafting knife. The shape. That's one right there. This isn't my knife. This is the guy that I work with, but he gave me this one. This is a pretty cool one. This is called the Bandito. This is a Generation 1. This is a front flipper, so it has this little piece here. All on bearings. Very cool. What else I got? This has got to get heat treated this week. This is a knife for a guy going into sear. It's still in the earlier stages. It's got to go into heat treat. It's going to be a nice size knife. And then you're able to choke up on it. Get your little sharpening choil there. Some jimping. All done on the mill. You got like a nice lanyard hole. It's a thick knife. I got to heat treat this week. I can't forget. It's going to an army guy. This is another one of my personals. Damascus. And this is a different finish that I'm doing with the Damascus. It's hard to pick it up on camera, but I really like blasting stuff, sandblasting. This is a sandblasting finish that I'm doing. Very cool. It's very gritty. It has a nice feel to it. Nice action. And this, I think, is actually going to go to somebody that I met on YouTube. This is a little knife. He's going to trade me some glass that he blows for this little guy. This is carbon fiber. He's probably busy right now, but this was a nice little thin knife. Might be some of the direction that I might be going in. Carbon fiber scales. I don't know where the screws went. I still gotta open that up. Fuck. Anyway. But I appreciate you watching. I'm gonna get off for a little while. It wasn't very, I guess the algorithm wasn't, it was nice talking to whoever I've been talking to, but sometimes I have 15 people in here. It's all random. And what's interesting, it's really when I start getting loud and start saying political shit or they start seeing movement and stuff on the live, people start coming in. It's like, what's this guy going to do? Is he going to do something crazy? We want to come in here and see it. Yeah, it's like sadistic. It's like, one day I was doing a video and I had a chainsaw running. I finished I'll show you around the shop before I get off. It seems like you might be a little interested. This is some stuff here. That's a sewing machine that I use. This is cool. This is dinosaur bone that my cousin sent me. He's probably going to do this as an inlay on a knife. But yeah, this is my shop. It's a big drill press. Me and my buddy built this whole shop with 13-foot ceilings. Nice lathe. This is a knife that he's working on right now. This is for somebody. He just sent out a bunch of knives we just finished. Here's another one of his blades. tapping head drill press. Nice mill. Does what we need it to do. Another tapping head. And this is the grinding room. Air suction. I gotta clean out my air conditioner. Yeah, for sure. Couple blasting cabinets. Bandsaw. Profile grinder. Couple other grinders. Another profiler, a disc grinder. Surface grinder. Making stuff flat. But yeah, we do everything in-house. Everything ourselves. We don't make the screws and stuff. We could turn screws if we wanted to. But Ziggy, it was good talking to you. I mean, I'd love to continue talking to you whenever you're on or I'm on. So if you want to shoot or subscribe, and then I'm going to be going live pretty often, especially when I'm doing worms. I also have a website, huntersworms.com. You can message me at the bottom. Thank you. Yeah, it's been a work in progress, but it's come along. It's coming out pretty good. But yeah, it's huntersworms.com, and there's like a little message thing if you want to direct message me. You too, man. You take it easy. Be healthy. Be safe. Be nice. Later.